Yes. So I guess we'll wait till they get in.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Janet Anderson, and I'm calling to order the Town of Lewisboro Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Before I go any further, I am confirming, yes, that Kirsten has started recording this meeting. The meeting is happening via Zoom, and there is live streaming to YouTube on the Lewisboro TV channel. The public can view the meeting either place. And I have confirmed that the YouTube feed is active and working. In accord with the governor's executive orders, no one is at our official meeting location at 79 Boughton. I have also confirmed with Kirsten, our planning board administrator, that the meeting has been duly noticed and legal notice requirements have been fulfilled. Joining me on this Zoom conference from the town of Lewisboro are the members of the planning board, Charlene Indelicato, Jerome Kerner, Greg Lasorsa, and Maureen McGuire. We do have a quorum, and thus we can conduct the business of the board and vote on any matters that come before the board. Also with us are the planning and wetland consultant, Jan Johannesson, and counsel Judd Siebert. Also planning board administrator, Kirsten Conrad, and I have seen, yes, the CAC chair, John Wolf. The governor's executive order number 202.1, which has been renewed, enables the planning board to meet remotely and electronically to function on behalf of the town. In accordance with the executive order, we intend to post both the recording and later a transcript of this meeting to the town website. And a recording will be available on the town's YouTube channel. We do have a public hearing scheduled for tonight. That is the only time we expect to take any public comments, and I'll describe the process before we begin that hearing in just a minute. The public has joined muted and without video until that point. We ask any applicants that are not currently engaging in dialogue to mute their lines. This will help everybody hear over the inevitable background noises. And to ease the recording of the votes, I will poll board members individually. Okay, let's get started. The first item on our agenda tonight is a continuation of a public hearing, calendar number 03-20 PB, calendar number 37-20 WP, Gossip Brothers Nursery, 1202 Route 35, South Salem, New York. This is an application for site development plan approval and wetland activity permit approval for an existing nursery. The public hearing opened in December 2020, was continued to our January and February meetings, and again to tonight pending ZBA review, which did happen in February. So with the public hearing, the purpose of a public hearing is for the board to hear the comments of the public. The comments should be addressed to the planning board, not to the applicant. A public hearing is not meant to be a dialogue. And in general, the board will not respond to comments at a public hearing, but of course, the board will take public input into consideration as we continue to review the application. And again, for the record, because of Executive Order 202.10, we are not meeting at a common location. We are holding the public hearing via video and telephone in accordance with Executive Order 202.15. We have invited public comments by email before the meeting. The public can comment during the hearing by sending an email to planning@lewisborogov.com. And in addition, the public can speak at the meeting. To speak at the meeting, please raise your Zoom hand and we will ask speakers to give their name and address and ask that comments be kept short. So with that, I think the next thing would be to ask for an update from the applicant. And I assume perhaps Michael is here to talk to us about that.
Well, I see Tim Cronin is with us, as well as Tom and Billy. I have nothing new to add. I've reviewed a proposed resolution, but we're here to answer any questions the public has or the board has. Tim, do you have anything?
The plans that that you're acting on tonight, hopefully, were the ones that were submitted in advance of the last meeting. And as I recall, no action was taken then pending the results of the zoning board hearing, which I believe came back favorably for the applicant. So I think every plan's pretty much what it's been since the start, a couple minor modifications, but I think it's been looked over by the town's consultants, and I think we're in pretty good shape.
So we have not received any official resolution from the ZBA, so perhaps you could confirm that. I think there was both, you went with for both a variance and for the special use permit, and just would like to hear from you that what the ZBA said about those.
Yes, for the record, the zoning board voted unanimously to grant both the special use permit for the accessory winery and the side yard setback variance for the trailer, the office trailer. And we have not yet seen a resolution in writing, but the board took the vote at last month's meeting, and so we feel that we're in full zoning compliance now by reason of that vote.
So I did.
Jan, I can confirm. I've heard from both the town attorney and the building department, which interacts with the ZBA, that both the variances and the special permit were granted. Sometimes there is a bit of a lag in terms of the preparation of a formal resolution, but it was approved, and most significantly, there was no modification or any type of change that was, that resulted to the site plan that's been before the board from the outset as a result of that decision.
Great. Yes. I got a quick email from the CBA administrator, but, obviously, thank you very much, Judd, for confirming that. So with that, and I see no raised hands, are there do any members of the planning board have any comments, questions?
No.
Jerome?
No, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing, if that's appropriate at this time.
Perfect. I think it is. Do we have a second?
Second.
That was seconded by Greg. Any further discussion? Okay, I'm going to poll the board. Jerome?
Aye.
Charlene?
Yes.
Greg?
Aye.
Maureen?
Yes.
And I also say aye or yes, so the motion carries. So we have closed the public hearing. Jan, I would like to ask you to walk us through the resolution.
Sure. At the board's request at the last meeting, our office prepared the draft resolution for tonight's meeting. It's a site development plan and wetland permit approving resolution. The property is described in the resolution as a 5.5 acre parcel at 1202 Route 35 in the R2A zoning district. It's owned by Gossett Brothers Nursery Ltd. The property consists of an existing landscape nursery, several detached buildings housing the nursery business operations, a gravel parking lot, inventory and display and storage areas associated with the nursery. There's an existing residence that the owner of the nursery resides at on the same parcel at the rear of the site. There are wetlands on the property that are jurisdictional to the town of Lewisboro and the New York State DEC. And there are some minor improvements being proposed in both the town of Lewisboro and the DEC regulated buffer areas. The main part of the application involves the proposal to establish an accessory winery business on the subject property. Also includes the installation of a water treatment system and wastewater holding tank to support that use. The existing nursery is considered an existing non-conforming use per our zoning, and the winery is permitted under the underlying zone, subject to the issuance of a special use permit from the ZBA, which we heard was issued in February. There are some historic variances and permits relating to the property and the use, the nursery use. that are referenced in the resolution. Getting into the site plan components, there are 21 active parking spaces proposed, 6 of which are proposed to be land banked under our zoning. That means that they will be not installed at this time, those 6 spaces, and if they're determined to be required at a future date, they can be installed subject to planning approval. To compensate for the wetland buffer disturbances associated with the project, the applicants developed a pretty elaborate landscaping plan around the perimeter of the existing pond. The application has been referred to the Westchester County Planning Board with Section 209M of the General Municipal Law. The action was determined to be an unlisted action subject to seeker, and the Planning Board issued a negative declaration on January 19th, 2021. As mentioned by the chair, there were several opportunities for public comment commencing on December 19th, 2020. The hearing was adjourned to January 19th, and then again to the February 23rd meeting, and then again to this evening, at which time it was closed. Obviously, the plans that were put forward by Cronin Engineering and Leslie Stout have been referenced in the resolution. The conditions are, I don't think anything out of the ordinary, typical conditions that you see in most of your resolutions. And I'll just point out condition number 3 identifies the outside agency approvals that we're aware of, the variance and special permit by the ZBA that we know has been granted, but the pending approvals are the water and wastewater systems to be approved by the health department and disturbance within the DEC 100-foot wetland adjacent area requiring an Article 24 wetland permit. So those are items that will need to be, permits that will need to be issued prior to the signing of the site plan. The remainder of the conditions, I think, are typical conditions of a project of this nature. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to run through that. We did pick up today at a staff meeting that there was a bit of a duplicative condition. Conditions 19 and 20 are very similar, and we felt that condition 19 could be removed from the resolution as condition 20 covers that particular condition, and then some regarding the applicant keep copies of the resolution and the improved plans and the wetland permit, special permit on premises at all times. That's it.
Thank you, Jan. Any questions or comments on the resolution? That change that Jan just mentioned, I think is, probably not a necessary amendment, but it's a better one. So if there aren't any questions or comments, I guess I would look for a motion to approve the resolution as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Jerome.
I'll second.
Maureen? Any further discussion? Okay, so I will pull the board. Jerome?
Aye.
Charlene?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
And I also say aye, so the motion carries. Thank you. One step forward, so I'm glad we got this done. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the wetland violation, calendar number 01-20WV and calendar number 12-20WP. This is the Valencia residence, 1196 Route 35, South Salem, New York. And I do see Javier is here.
Hi.
Hi. Jan, perhaps you want to review where we are on this at this point?
Sure. To date, the violation has been issued. I believe the applicant or the owner has entered a plea, and we've been looking for the submission of a site plan and wetland mitigation plan. I had met with the owner and their design reps a couple of months ago. We went through that plan and what would need to be submitted. We did receive a plan today by email that looked to be a wetland mitigation planting plan. I have not reviewed it yet, but it looked at first glance to be consistent with what we talked about in our meeting.
John, maybe it's just me, but you're breaking up a little bit. Can you get either a little louder or a little closer to the mic or something?
I'm not sure how much closer I can get. Is that any better?
That's
That's
better.
much better.
Okay. So how much did you get? Want me to start over?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So to date, a wetland violation has been issued and the owner has entered a plea. I had met with the owner, Javier, and his design rep a couple of months ago via Zoom, and we went over what I thought would be the necessary submissions and plans that would be required. We received some plans today, a wetland mitigation and planting plan that looked to be consistent with what we talked about. I haven't reviewed it in detail, but it looked like it was heading in the right direction. And we did receive a site plan that showed the driveway configuration and installation of retaining walls. So, just receiving them today. I haven't reviewed them completely, but I think we're starting to move in a good direction here and getting some information that we've been looking for. I would recommend potentially calendaring this for the April meeting, giving our office some time to review the plans, and then reaching out to Javier if you have any questions. Looks like we're starting to move in a good direction.
Okay, so again, I think you broke up a little bit, but I'm going to make sure that everyone, and including me, understood what I think you said, which is that it's moving forward and in the right direction. You want to have another meeting, probably a Zoom meeting with Javier and his representatives, and we should look forward to seeing this again in April in a more, when you'll have a chance to have reviewed the plans in more detail. That's good. Yeah, did you want to say anything?
I'm okay. I can meet with Jan again, and probably Bernard can meet with us again. But in terms of starting the litigation and the remediation of the wetlands, can we start any of that process yet or no? In terms of the planting?
You can't technically start that work until a permit is issued. So we do need to review those plans. I think the planting plan is in very good shape. I just want to review it, and hopefully we can touch it.
Sure, I'll just wait then.
I'd like to see it, accomplish that this planting season. So we'll work hard to get that.
Okay.
So if perhaps we can, if this is relatively complete in April, maybe we can move pretty quickly on that. So I think the Zoom meeting with Jan would be the good next approach, and that's a good step. But thank you. I was pleased to see the planting plan and the plans with the driveway and walls on them. So that's good forward motion. Thank you.
All right.
So we'll see you in April.
Yep, I'll reach out to Jan and to Bernard.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Janet, I'm gonna sign off and try to come back on and see if that fixes the problem. Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
So the next item on our agenda is calendar number 03-20WV, and I am going to
Yeah,
turn this over to Judd.
yeah, and since Jan signed off, I get the honors. We've had one Zoom meeting with the property owners. We have another one scheduled for next week. I'd ask that we carry this over to the April meeting so that we can have that conversation before this appears on an agenda again. I think it'll be helpful.
I think that's, obviously, I take your, oops, I was looking to admit Kellard and they just got in. Okay. I take your advice on that. And so we will, if it's all right with everyone, we'll.
Yeah, but it's actually, it's on the town's request to adjourn to April to allow for a second meeting.
And so we'll have them on the calendar on April.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And we do have Jan back on. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a wetland permit review, calendar number 13-21 WP, the Strauss residence at 399 Pound Ridge Road, South Salem, New York. And this is the application for the construction of a sunroom and a deck. I know that Jan had planned a site visit to that, so maybe one of the things that we should ask for is a report from Jan and his assessment of the site visit.
Sure. Can you hear me any better?
It seems better, yes.
Okay.
And I will say that Bob Eberts is also here to represent the applicant.
The kids are on Netflix, so I kicked them off. Hopefully that yeah, so I had an opportunity to visit the site last week with Bob Eberts and the owners. And I'm glad I did, because I have a little bit of a different impression of the project and really what the water course consists of. It's really a seep coming out of a hillside that's channelized in about a 1 foot wide stone lined channel. And it doesn't really run through the shed building as depicted on the plan. It kind of pops out of the ground and right at the foundation. So, I had originally thought, hey, maybe we could uncover the stream where it was culverted. Those culverts do look in very good shape, and they do look like they could be historic. And now seeing the feature and realizing really what it is, I'm satisfied with the plan and the mitigation that was put forth. I did recommend that at the field visit that they remove some invasives that were in the vicinity of the barn on the hillside. We also talked about potentially handling the stormwater that comes from this small addition in a different way. They had proposed a Coltex system that was uphill and in pretty close proximity to their septic. And I thought I had recommended that maybe it could be simplified and the small additional roof area could be sent to a planter or something of that nature to help just dissipate flows. They are going to engage a surveyor to have a proper survey done of the property. And we have some outstanding comments, but I was glad I visited it because I got a different impression being there.
Yes, I guess I should mention also that we have received some more submissions that showed, for example, that where the location of the expansion area for the septic was going to be. And so we're confident that that is not at all impacted by this plan.
I did take photographs if anybody, would like to see them. I could share them this evening, or I can email them to Kirsten and she could distribute.
perhaps sharing them, because just a couple to help us all share your view of it.
Yeah, they're looking back. I don't think they're the greatest photos, but we'll give it a shot. You see that?
Well, I don't, but I have the slowest internet. I see,
Yeah. They're not up.
I see some tabs.
yeah, I see 4 little indicators.
Roger. Hang on.
Well, I guess the purpose of me doing this would be to ask whether or not you feel that this is something that would be appropriate to be handled administratively at this point. Oh,
Up,
See that
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
success.
All right. So this is on the far left corner, the workshop that's going to be expanded. Right kind of in front of these evergreen shrubs is the channel, this portion being in a culvert underground. So that's kind of the general work area. Bring this guy up. This is looking at the seep adjacent to the workshop building. Again, stone lined, a foot or a foot and a half feet wide, a trickle of water. And as you can see, it's on the plans, it's kind of depicted as this channel runs through the building. But this is, you could see the slope behind the building, and it's just not there. There might be another seep kind of originating to the right of this photograph further up slope, but the main source of water is just kind of popping out of the ground adjacent to this foundation. And I think this was an old milk storage building, and it probably kept the milk cold kind of thing, but really just a trickle of water, and there it goes underground.
Jan, I'm seeing the same photograph that you first put up. I don't know if anybody else is.
Yeah,
Me is the same problem here.
Okay, this is not a success. I think I should stop sharing.
Thank you for your effort.
you get a C plus.
I could send some photographs to the board, but there's really not a whole lot to look at. It's a small stone-lined channel with a trickle of water coming from a seep that originates from the adjacent to the foundation of the workshop.
I had a question for Judd. Does this meet the threshold for requiring a public hearing as a wetland application?
Well, like any wetland application, you can refer this to an administrative route if you want to. If Jan's comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would move that we move this to administrative review, as it seems to me it's being handled very sensitively, and as Jan has pointed out, the environmental conditions are as accurately portrayed on the plan.
Okay.
Is that a consensus, or do you need is that a motion and a second?
That's a motion.
I'll second
That's a motion.
that. If that's a motion, I'll second it.
Okay, and I think the one question I would ask is to ask Jan, I know you just mentioned that there were a couple of conditions that had to yet be addressed, but are you comfortable taking this administratively?
Sure, certainly. Yep.
Okay, so any other questions for either the applicant or Jan or anyone? Any other discussion before we poll the board? Okay, Jerome.
Aye.
Charlene,
Aye.
Greg,
Yes.
Maureen,
Aye.
and I also say aye, so the motion carries, and this will be handled administratively. Jan, I think I would be interested just in the photos just because of this historic property. I did drive by it the other day, but I just and it made me even more interested to see it. So if you could share them, that would be great. But I think I'm very comfortable with the motion that we have just passed.
I just sent an email to the board members and copied Kirsten, so you have those.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. You're welcome to come out to the site at any time. If you want to reach my office, I'll coordinate the meeting. It's an interesting property. It's worth spending a few minutes to walk through it.
Thank you. I did enjoy driving a little slower past it. There's not that much traffic out these days, so I was able to do that. So, but great. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is another wetland permit review. This is calendar number 17-21 WP, calendar number 02-21 SW. This is the Mitigation residence. I hope I said that right, with St. Patrick's Day coming up so close. 38 Gilbert Street, South Salem, New York. And this is the application for the restoration of a disturbed hillside, retaining walls, steps, walks, planting, and deck. Okay, so I think I see the
Lewis
applicants here.
Research.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I am the landscape architect representing the applicants, Dan and Devin, who are also, as you can see here. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the project because it was here originally for a deck and an extension. Now we're here to present the landscape plans and the restoration of the property. Just to give a little history, a few weeks back, our office had a meeting with Jan to review pre-submission our preliminary plans. And today we did receive his comments on the existing plan that we submitted. If you'll let me share the screen right now, if that's good, I'll show you the plans that have been submitted and the modifications that we've made to the plans today based on some of the comments that were received from Cowart Sessions' office. Okay.
Yes, please go ahead and share.
Are you seeing the screen here?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'll zoom in a little bit on the actual site plan. And actually, I may start just to familiarize yourself a little bit with some of the photos. This is the existing conditions right now, the access way, and it's a pretty steep slope down to the lake. There's silt fencing down and a bermed area that's stopping any water that's coming down. You can see those that are familiar with the area know on Gilbert the severity of the slope and the hillside there. This is the existing house with some steps down to the entry of the house. Existing steps. I'm just showing you these because we're making some changes to make them a little bit safer and more year-round friendly for the applicants and the homeowners. Existing shed and location. This was the location of an existing generator, and we've got a new generator and propane tank that's going in. Some new screening trees that just went in on the property line this fall. I'll now go back to return to the site plan. Okay. Hold 1 second, I just need to. Okay, thank you for your patience. It's moving a little slow today. Okay, so what we have on our plan here that was submitted is reworking of the stairs to be a more formalized stairs. There are existing walls in the hillside that are being reworked to create more level terraces to stop water that's flowing down. And then all the walls are under 4 feet. Most of them are about 2 to 2.5 feet within these areas here. We have a new generator located in this corner here. The old generator, propane tank and all was here. The generator was down below, and a buried propane tank up in this area here. We have actually received a letter from the neighbor at 36 Gilbert, who is in favor and has sent their favorable reaction to the plan and the location of the generator and the overall site plan. The comments, one particular comment from Jan was that we're showing right now 3 accesses from the street, one here, a service to the shed, and 1 path along the side, as well as the main path. And what we have done in our new plans has been to remove 2 of those 3 access points. Currently, this is a planted area, and if the client or their landscaper needs to get in, it's an easy enough area that they can wheel a wheelbarrow down to come along here. We've eliminated the steps along the side, the shed as well. And another comment was that we have that the stone piers at the end of the side walls to the stair were extending. One of them was extending past the property line. So those have now been moved in off the onto property so that there's no structure that's other than the path that continues to the existing parking area at the road. So those changes here have been made with regard to hardscape. The other major plan change was on the original plan. Existing plan were a set of stone slab stones in the lower area here, which have also been removed. The dock is being removed, the existing dock, and a new dock is being relocated that met the Lake Association's review and location and size, and has been approved, and we've received approval from the Lake Association for this dock. The other changes or components of the design is there's a section of the wall here that has fallen down that is being rebuilt. We're proposing some stepping stones to the new dock and a portable boat rack storage area here. We have a pretty extensive mitigation, native planting, wetland mitigation plan for this area of the lower area. We're creating a low mow zone. We're eliminating all the invasive species that are right now at the edge of the lake and replacing them with pretty extensive mitigation plantings within those areas. The remainder of the site is also being vegetated, very minimal hardscape other than some minor terrace walls. There'll be some free stone, stepping stones will be located in this area with a possible bird bath. The seating wall will relocate here. The plan is now also indicated. I could go through Jan's actual comments, to finish the presentation, but one of his comments also was regarding our utilities. So we're now showing the connections. This blue line here indicates the connection from the generator to the house. The electrical connections will connecting there, and the propane connection from the generator to the propane tank. The existing water line was not shown on the original survey, and that's now being shown. We actually, one of the comments also on Jan's letter was for an updated survey, and my clients have retained the surveyor. They're actually coming out tomorrow to do an updated survey. So there will be an updated survey. His recommendation was that this would be an administrative approval, since most of it is really landscaping. There's no major structures, some simple sitting walls and retaining walls. And we think that overall, knowing and seeing the property, we've now created extensive terraced areas that will take any water and allow it to infiltrate down the hillside at different levels before anything runs to the lake. Not to mention that we have these extensive planting zones that will mitigate any plantings that do end up even getting down to the low mow area. A couple of other minor things, you can see these red circles here are are two new splash pads. He had asked us to take a look at all the splash pads. The splash pads are all located from the leaders from the house, and those have all been indicated and noted. The construction sequence has been added to as well on the plan. There were a couple of items that he was hoping that we would elaborate on some more. And I'm thinking from the design point of view, that covers pretty much everything. I could go through quickly and see if there's anything I missed in his comments of the letters. As I mentioned, we're hopefully looking to get started to capture some of these, get the installation of some of these walls in and bring back the site to a normal condition before we get too far into the spring and are able to plant it and all. So obviously, the sooner that we could move forward on this would be great. Plans, there were some issues with the plans being, some of the line weight being a little light. They're all being adjusted and will be resubmitted to Jan for his work. There was a comment about the silt fencing. We have proposed silt fencing in some areas. Jan's comment was that it should all be in line with the lake and horizontal. In some areas, we did turn it on slight different angles, primarily as sort of overkill for areas that we were worried that they might overflow to the neighbor's property without any control factors. So we retook a look at that to see if there was anything that still needed to be added in that area, and have made some adjustments with that. The hardscape has all been adjusted and eliminated, and the access to the main residence has been reduced to just the one area, one set of steps instead of the three areas.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, you guys have been busy, and it's clear that you did, note some of the comments and responded to them. I had been concerned about the amount of basically impervious surface, and I think this does, removing some of these pieces, especially the one down by the lake, I think all helps. I guess I would ask if anyone has any questions or comments for the applicant.
Just one question. You remove the access by the generator and the propane tank. How is the propane tank going to be filled?
The propane tank is actually up at this level here and can be reached right through this area. From the actual fill would be right in this area. The top of the tank is in essence is only about a foot or so below the level of the ground up in this area. So they'll be able to just step here and access it from this point.
Thank you.
Not hearing any other questions. I do have a question. So the removable boat rack, I'm not quite sure what that looks like, but I've often seen ones that are accessed from two sides. Will this require somebody to go onto the neighboring property to put boats in, or how?
Yeah, this will be more of a lean-to type scenario, that it'll have a backing here and a top. And so the backing would run on the property line. So they would access the boats from this side here.
Okay, so that isn't enough to make it a structure that we have to worry about? Maybe because it's removable?
Yeah, it's really more of a rack and can be lifted up and moved.
Okay, good. And you said that you had a document that said that the Truesdale Lake Association had approved this, or I might not have the name of the association quite right, had approved the dock as proposed?
Yes. I could probably, if you give me 1 second, I'll find it in my, or we could definitely provide that to you. Hold on.
Now, if you, oh,
Here,
okay.
here it is here.
It's the TLPOA is the correct lake association. TLPOA.
Not Truesdale State Association.
Oops.
The TEA.
Yeah, TEA.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, I know there are two of them.
Yeah.
So, and they both have Truesdale in them. Okay,
They wrote back to tell us that we were approved and asked that we signed the agreement, which we did. And what the agreement we commit to is simply that we'll remove the existing dock, obviously, as we build the new one, so that we don't have two docks, which of course we don't want.
great, okay.
And also, we don't have to have that boat rack either. We could figure out a way to put our kayak under the deck or something.
No, my concern, because I've seen the ones that are sort of like T's or Y's, and you access them from both sides. And I just wanted to make sure we weren't gonna have you having to walk around to the neighbor's property.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a one-sided thing or something, I think that's okay.
If we have something, it would be one-sided, but we're not even convinced we
Sure.
need one. Yeah.
Well, people do start with one boat and end up with an armada. I know how that works. So, okay. Any other questions or comments? Maybe we could stop sharing for a second so I could see everyone.
Okay, sorry.
No, that was very helpful to look at the plans. Jan, would this be something that at this point, having seen some of the changes, do you think that you're ready to have this go administrative, or would you like a chance to look at the submissions?
I think I wasn't expecting any response from this evening, just having prepared the memo, but I think they hit just about everything in the memo, the big ticket items anyway. So yeah, I'd be comfortable with it being handled administratively. I do think that there needs to be a referral to the building inspector for zoning, just because there's a lot of regs in the zoning code dealing with fences and walls within the setbacks and such. And, the boat rack should be reviewed. So just an overall zoning review by Joe would be helpful, but that could take place, in the context of an administrative review as well. So
Okay.
I'm comfortable having seen those changes.
All right, so I guess.
Yeah, I'd suggest if we have a consensus to get it to the building department, that should happen as a matter of course, and then you can make a decision whether you want to go, the administrative route or not by motion.
All right, so I'd look for consensus to send this to the building inspector, which I guess since it's consensus, we can all do a sort of thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody seems thumbs up, so we have consensus to refer this to the building inspector for any zoning compliance or, other issues that he may identify with the walls, for example. And then if we are okay, I guess I would look for a motion to make this
I think
administrative.
you have a question from the applicant, Jan.
Sorry.
I just was going to mention, I believe, Jan, that Joe also would need to approve the generator and tank, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but those are building permit applications,
Yeah.
and you might need them for the walls anyway, but we usually, before you get to that stage, do kind of high level zoning compliance review.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sorry.
No, quite all right. I'm sorry I didn't see you. So I guess, again, I would look up, go ahead, Charlene.
I move to look at this matter administratively.
I would second that.
Second.
Ooh,
So
okay.
Maureen second, yeah.
Maureen seconded, okay. So any further discussion on this? All right, I'll pull the board. Jerome,
Aye.
Charlene,
Aye.
Gregory,
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
And I also say, yes, aye. So the motion carries. Thank you, Jan, for taking this administratively. And I want to say thank you for being so responsive to a memo. And I think you really did hear concerns. I will say I was, I thought there was an awful lot of hardscaping stonework there. And I really think you have been, you listened and responded. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Well,
all.
thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Right.
I know.
Oh, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a discussion item. It's on the Covini residence, 32 Quincy Court, Goldens Bridge, New York. This is an application for installation of solar panels. And as Jan explained it to me, this is something because it's in a multifamily area with site plan approval, it comes to our board. So Jan, perhaps you could.
Yeah, we've the board's had to deal with these type of permits in the past. And there's a nuance in the zoning code that requires site plan approval for any building permit issued in a multifamily zone. So in Wild Oaks, we've had to deal with this before with decks and sheds and generators and things of that nature, and usually try to handle them as expeditiously as possible. In this case, the applicant made an application for roof-mounted solar panels that require a building permit that then trigger the site plan. And they submitted maybe last week, thought that they would go on the April meeting, and then we thought, well, maybe we'll discuss it with the board. It is something that needs a resolution, but if the board was comfortable, I could have that prepared potentially for the April meeting. So, we're kind of one step ahead of things. So it's really, I'm not sure that the applicant's with us tonight.
I'm actually here right now.
Okay, cool.
I'm from Tri-State Solar.
Okay, yeah, I met with Matt, and they were just, Matt can answer any questions you have, but that's why it's here.
So I guess my question would be, I'm seeing Jerome, but let me maybe first follow up. So my understanding is by this being solar panel, there's no ground disturbance, nothing gets put on the, on the ground. It's all either on the roof or a connection to the electrical panel.
Correct. There's no structure change being made, nothing, no eyesores happening. It's all flat to the roof plane, and it's abiding by all New York State codes. The only reason that I see it being brought to the planning board is that it's on a multifamily building, but the homeowner does own the roof along with the entire property. It's not that they just own the house, they own the property with it. So I just feel like the planning board, we have to get through this so that we can get pushed through the building department.
Okay. Jerome, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, I would think that the only concern affecting the neighborhood would be the view shed. And who has a view of these panels? And you say it's flat with the plane of the roof, but is it a pitched roof or is it a flat roof?
It is a pitched roof, correct.
It is a pitched roof. And so, would there be a plan or photographs of the house that would, it's purely visual, and whether or not this is going to reflect onto somebody else's windows and be a disturbance, because they can, the sun reflects off these panels, and depending on the angle could affect adjacent or nearby residences.
Right.
That's the only consideration that I would make on it.
Yeah, and across the street, I know that this particular multifamily dwelling is not part of a homeowners association, but there's homeowners associations to the left and to the right. And there's solar panel, all the buildings look very similar to each other. And many of them already have solar on them in this example. So if you look at I don't have an example in front of me that I can share, but the back of the house goes to trees where there's no neighbors, and it's probably 50 to 60 feet in the air. Now, they're, probably 40 to 50 feet in the air. The front of the house is on a circular lot, and across the street, there's trees in the middle that would block any neighbors from seeing the front, which is a low pitch. So there's no possible way that any neighbors can be disturbed by sun glare by the way that it's structured.
Yeah, I did look at at a Google map, and it did look like it was a separate property, not, not in a courtyard or anything with somebody, right against it. I guess if there's, I would be willing to suggest that we ask Jan to prepare a resolution for next month's meeting if the board agrees.
Well, just following up on what Jerome had said is, have the neighbors been apprised of this, and has there been any objection?
I haven't seen any objection. I know she's very friendly with all of her neighbors. And like I said, almost directly across the street, there is a similar solar installation. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. The only reason it's that house is part of a homeowners association, I believe. I don't know how the Wild Oaks works to know these homeowners associations. I know that it's all intertwined in weird ways.
Could you give me the address again? I can bring it up on Google Maps.
Yeah, it's hard to see. I just looked at it on Google Maps. You can't get a street view because of where it's located, but it's 32 Quincy Court.
Well, can you get
Bridge.
Can you get an aerial satellite view?
You can get, yeah.
I could
have it,
attempt to
Greg?
share my screen again. They
Okay.
submitted an aerial with the application.
You can get an aerial view, Jerome.
Okay.
So some woods behind the unit.
It's also the highest,
Yeah.
the highest building out of the ones surrounding it.
It's it seems like that. I mean, it's right off 138, so it's in my neck of the woods. I mean, it's the only thing. I mean, it's pretty densely populated over there.
Yeah. Is that near Fairmount? Or?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the panels would be on the east slope or the west slope?
On both, on the front and the back, east and west, are good for solar.
Front and the back. Okay.
Yep. North roof is not good for solar. East, west, and south produce.
Judd, is there any type of publication requirement and a public hearing requirement on something like this?
Well, what they're asking for, Greg, is a waiver of site plan review procedures that would bypass all of that. Maybe something to do is we draft a resolution, but we ask the applicant to come in next month with some better visual representation of what this looks like for neighbors. That shouldn't be too hard a task. Maybe not a full photo simulation, but at least something to give us a better sense of perspective as to where the panels will be and how they'd be viewed. I think, and then if the board's comfortable, we could, make a decision then.
Maybe get some letters from neighbors if they're in.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, we're dealing with the visuals here, not any abstract code.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just a little uncomfortable. Let's like to see what the neighbors are going to say.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
What's the address again?
32.
I'm sorry.
Quincy?
32 Quincy.
Quincy.
Court.
Okay.
My sense is we're just going to see a lot more solar going in, and it's going to become a lot more common, sort of like utility poles or anything else that are around. You know, people are going to get used to seeing solar panels as or a chimney or anything. So
I don't know that we want to be using utility poles as a positive reference, but
no, it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily a positive reference. It's
Yeah.
just something we've all kind of, today they would
I
never
know.
get done. Everything would be underground and new stuff is, because that's evolved. But I think people are going to be doing that. So I do like the idea of asking for this to try to move along as expeditiously as possible, and assuming that the neighbors are okay with it. So I guess I would look for, do we need consensus, Judd, to
I think
write a resolution?
we just need a consensus from the board to start a resolution. But I also think the applicant needs direction as to what to do to, in terms of allaying some of those concerns. And I think what I'm hearing is to endeavor to get, responses or affirmative responses from neighbors. But I also think, a better visual representation. And again, I don't think we need to go to, full-blown photo simulation, but just something to get give the board a better sense of perspective in terms of elevation as to what these are going to look like.
Yeah, now I've got a better Google map photo here, satellite view on it. I just have a question. Can I share this and maybe you could answer the question?
Surely.
You mind that? I mean, it might cut some of the.
No, go ahead.
So here we are here. This is 32.
Right.
Are these units here on Peach Court, are they higher or lower? I can't tell.
Much
Looks like they're
lower.
lower.
I think they're lower.
They look lower, but yeah.
So this is really a high point here, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, well,
And the house is the highest on the left side, and 32 is the highest on that multifamily dwelling.
it's the highest, yeah. And then looking to the east, what's directly across? Like, it looks like there's
There is a tree in the middle, in between them, in the center of that circle lot, which
right here.
Yeah, that actually screens that building.
Yeah, because there's a unit here that would be looking straight up the hill. But you're saying it's blocked.
Correct. It's screened with that tree.
Okay, well, I mean, it'd be a good idea to formalize this, with a photograph or maybe a photograph from this house looking in that direction. That's the only.
I think what I have to do, in my opinion, right now is to go around and get letters from all the neighbors that can see this install from their home, as well as get photos from their perspective so that we can discuss it in the next meeting.
Perfect.
That'd be great.
And I think there's consensus to have a resolution ready to go if the board's concerns are satisfied. And, we can move from there.
Sure.
I think so. Yep. I'm seeing that.
I mean, this is it's a quirk. It's a strange quirk in the code, but I think the idea behind it, or the rationale behind it, was that if you have multifamily development, you're going to have higher density development, and somebody pulling a building permit in that type of development, there's going to be more of an impact potentially on surrounding properties, which is why the site development plan, was called for. But it can be weighed. So let's see what it looks like. And if we have a resolution adopted and everything looks good next month, we can take care of it.
Good.
I appreciate you getting me onto this month's meeting so we could get the ball rolling and get onto April like we were supposed to in the first place. Thank you.
Excellent.
Welcome.
Okay.
Okay. So
Make a
that sounds
motion.
like,
I make a motion for approval of the February meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
great. Okay.
That was fast.
Any discussion of our verbatim minutes or transcribed minutes, I guess they are.
Good transcription.
Yep. So I will pull the board. Jerome,
Aye.
Charlene,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
and I also vote to approve the minutes. So that is done. So with that, I think we just announced our next meeting date is April 20th, 2021. And I wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. We didn't quite make you guys set tough targets of 8:15, but I guess I would look for a motion to adjourn at 8:37.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:37.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Maureen. I'm going to poll Jerome.
Aye, but I have a comment. It would have been closer to 8:15, but I didn't take into account your lengthy introduction about Governor Cuomo's requirements, etc.
Yeah, I'm told that those are
That was at my insistence.
right. That going on the record to say why we're meeting in this way
I know.
is standard. And
But it was 12 minutes, I think. So anyway.
Well, I will try to read them more speedily in the future. Okay, so we're still having a discussion on the motion to adjourn, but I think it's now got to be 8:38. All right, so
Aye, I said aye.
aye from Jerome. Charlene.
Aye.
Greg.
Aye.
Maureen.
Aye.
And I also say yes, let's adjourn. So thank you all.
Thank you all.
And
Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
night.
stay well.
Night
Happy
all.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Patrick's Day.